Good morning, humble practitioners. It's Lynn, Shuck, and it's time for this week's humble practice. Last week we were talking about breathing during a rest period after a yoga class or just when you're sitting somewhere quietly. Now I want to talk about that rest at the end of yoga class. You don't just have to do it at the end of yoga class, but sometimes what's offered at the end of yoga class isn't comfortable for everyone. So what I want to give you are some options of ways to take rest. And whether you do this at the end of a yoga practice or you just choose to find this spot to come to for a couple minutes at the end of your day or in the middle of a stressful day, if you can find that 2 or 3 minutes, this can be a nice thing to add into your daily activities. And I just want to troubleshoot a little bit. Generally speaking, at the end of a yoga class, you're told to come to Shavasana. Shavasana is a specific pose, and it looks like this. And you have your legs extended, your arms a little away from you, and you close your eyes and you lie here. This isn't comfortable for everybody. And it's not comfortable for a variety of reasons. One could be if your neck is a little forward, you might have to drop your head back. And that crunches the back of the neck when that chin is up high. So if that were the case, you could put a folded blanket under your head. That could reduce neck tension. That simple fix could make lying here comfortable. But even still, this isn't always comfortable for everybody. With the palms up toward the ceiling and the chest exposed, sometimes discomfort isn't just physical, it can be emotional. This is a very vulnerable place to be, and it might not feel comfortable on some days when you're feeling vulnerable. So you might just choose to turn the palms down, or bring the palms onto your stomach, or one on your chest and one on your stomach. And that can be a little safer feeling if it's an emotional discomfort. There's other ways that people aren't happy here. Sometimes this hurts the back if it pulls too much on the lower back, or you have low back pain already, and so there's some simple fixes there. One of which is to take a blanket, preferably if you need one under your head, you'll get a second blanket for this, and you can roll the blanket up and put the blanket under your knees. And that little bit might take pressure off your spine. If that's not enough release, you could completely bend the knees. And when I have people bend the knees, what I offer for them is to take the feet apart and let the knees rest toward each other. If you keep your feet and legs parallel, sometimes the legs will start to shake because it's hard to keep them there for a few minutes. So if you have the knees bent, you let the knees rest in toward each other. They may or may not touch. Another variation to support the lower back would require 2 blocks. And you bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees drop out to the side, and you support your legs on the blocks. Now, often this is done, people just sit here without blocks, and it's this stretch. But when you're in rest, you don't want to stretch and cause tension. So we put the block there because then the legs relax and the back relaxes, and you can take rest here. What if you're not comfortable on your back? It happens. If you're pregnant and you're in your last trimester, or sometimes even before then you're uncomfortable on your back, but definitely in your last trimester, you might choose to rest on your side. If you rest on your side, you usually want to support that top leg, and you want to support the head, because you don't want your head to drop down to the floor and pull on your neck. So you bring your head in line with your spine, and you put your arms wherever they're comfortable. So this can be a place to be at rest, as can being more vertical. Why would someone choose to be vertical? Maybe they're having trouble breathing and lying down, it's just too hard to breathe. Maybe it's uncomfortable. I can tell you there was a time when I was clinically depressed, and lying down on my back was the worst place I could go. My brain would start in with all the depressive thoughts, and I needed to not be there. It's what I needed, but I still needed rest. So you can sit. Now you can come to a wall and let the wall support you with your legs out to the side, or even out in front of you, or cross-legged. You can sit up on something. Sitting up on a block works, or up on blankets, and let the feet come a little further apart so you're not crossed in tight with the knees up You pull the feet apart and let the knees come to the floor. You can also bring one leg up or both legs up and be in a modified squat. This can be really comfortable because it supports your spine. You see how I'm not kind of stuck back here. I'm able to sit up tall, and it's not a lot of effort. And that's what we're trying to find, is poses that aren't a lot of effort, but where you can be comfortable and breathe and rest. The other last option I'll show you is still a vertical pose and can be done for rest. I like to do this with 2 blocks. You would put the blocks between your feet, stacked, and I have them set up like that. And then you sit on the blocks. Now, for me, this is comfortable. For others, that's too much pressure on the ankles, and they would be happier, again, in a modified squat, one or both legs. So this is another possibility, coming up higher in a squat. So there's a variety of options, everything from Shavasana to something quite vertical, and all of them count. And I will just throw out one other idea. If you've ever taken a restorative yoga class or a workshop and you found a restorative pose that's really, really happy for you, you can use that pose. Rest doesn't have to be in Shavasana. It's a chance for your brain to become quiet, for your energy level to calm down. It's not sleep. And it's a place where you can just observe your breath and observe the tension in your body and in your thoughts, just like we did last week, only now you have some options of ways to be. I would urge you, if you're not somebody who does a yoga practice, do this anyway. Just set a timer on your watch, 2 minutes. Find a position that's comfortable and just watch your breath. Use last week's practice to even out the breath, to remove the pauses, and see what happens. I'll see you in our next humble practice. Bye.